So, Jürgen, just for a little bit of introduction, I think we know each other now for 32 years.
Long time.
Long time. And this is your first visit to Montreal.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And we meet 32 years ago in New
New
York.
York
And we meet in München and Berlin.
and Berlin.
Yeah. It is quite a journey. Uh, can you tell us why you're on in Montreal and what is the your adventure right now, the journey that you're going
Yes, right now, let's say very intensive hobby since 6, 7 years is to go along with the bike. I've been round about nearly in whole Europe and up to the North Cape, to the Baltic, come to France and Spain, and it's really wonderful. It's really fun, and so I'm not the youngest one, and I want to make a really big, really important for me trip. The first thing was the Silk Road. It's away from Venice to. It's an old way, like Caravanen goes there from Venice to China. But the world is coming a little bit smaller every year in the last years with war, with problems, and so on. And so the last decision was it last from Canada, from Alaska. When I was young, I was a lot of times spent a lot of times in the mountains to visit the Mount McKinley. It's now called Denali. And the other thing, a little bit away in Patagonia, is the Fitzroy. It is a really new chapter. What I expect is to take time. One of I've read books from him is Ted Simon. And he wrote in one book, if you want to get to know a country and the people living there and the country, and how the country looks like and so on, you have to go on your four legs and go down and smell what's going on. And this is a little bit what I want to do, is to have some time to have a look to the landscape. The big cities are not so interesting for me, and I do not know how difficult it is to come into contact with the people. I think it's difficult in these days, and my problem is I'm only speaking a little bit English, no Spanish. Let's see what happens. But when I came into Canada, I got so wonderful help from the people, and it's great. Yes, of course, I want to do this, and it started in the beginning in the airplane, waiting for the airplane in Frankfurt. I came into contact with a couple who is on the way for. They will take a long time with caravan, and when I was on the way from Halifax to Montreal on McDonald's, I met a couple from Germany with two bikes, and they are also on the way, and we will meet together. We have we change telephone numbers and so on, and we're writing. What are you doing? Where are you? And I really hope that it will continue. A lot of people say in Berlin, "Oh, it's very dangerous. You're alone on the roads," but I think and I hope that I'm not alone. I hope I can do this. This is not so easy. You know, you have to have time on the ride to write down some things. You have with this handy, with a mobile phone, a lot of photos. thousands and thousands. It takes a horrible time to bring it to a good end. And I have a camera with me. I can put it on the helmet at the GoPro, and I hope that all things together will end, really will end in a book. And my what I want to learn and to study during the ride, and I did it, of course, in preparation. My interest is historical things, political things, social things, to write a little bit about this. And of course, um, uh, my feeling, what's going on with me. I think and I hope that I get to know it before, that this journey will change me in some ways.
Speaking of your past, maybe we can go back a little bit, like when you started your life as a young adult or a student. You told me that you started a business with a taxi business in Berlin. Can you tell me a little bit how this whole adventure started, and how old were you when you started these businesses?
Oh, this is always a difficult questions. In my next life, I will really to make it's a diary. You write in day by day. I was born in Bamberg. That's a wonderful city in the south of Germany. And when I finished the school, I went to Berlin to study German language, literature, and so on. And to earn some money, you have to at those times. I made the license to drive a cab. I did it in the night and so on, and I met two boys, and we decided to make to buy our own cab. And so it was a first step to a company. And in these days, you could make money with it. Today, it's really impossible. And I finished university. I worked for some times in the university, a little bit in the school, and I made license as a mountain guide. And then step by step, I had some money, and so I can start with Schwarzmode.
Uh,
It's interesting.
we're gonna get to the Schwarze Mode chapter in maybe just one question, but can you tell us your cab business when it was in full running order? How many cabs did you have in Berlin?
Let's say, I think in between 20 and 25.
25 cabs. Okay. And I would assume that when you had this part of your life, you met some maybe famous people, or you saw something funny, maybe that you can tell us, one adventure as a cab driver or as a business owner of a cab company.
Of course, in the night you have to fetch Harald Junke, the well-known actor in Germany, and a little bit too much alcohol. They came in the cab and say, "Hello, you know where we have to go? I want to go at home. You know it." Of course, we did, and sometimes, of course, some actors and so on came in the cab, and sometimes they want to speak to you a little bit, and sometimes they don't want to speak.
Do you feel that the cab business when you were doing this and you were with people all the time in the cab, or you could look at the people, is that a little bit parallel to the journey that you have on your motorcycle, where you can be close to the people again?
Yes, I think you cannot compare, but it is really said it's a little bit. And then I went also to study psychology. It's a really study of psychology. What the people are saying. It was a very hot time in Berlin, political. Yeah, it was the end of the Vietnam War, and we had the problem that young people went into houses illegal to live there. For the government wants to build up new houses. Nobody has enough money. It was a time when Germany was divided. Also, I was living in West Berlin, and the wall was there, and we were politically active. And then we sometimes I brought some managers to the airport, and they give me 20 Deutschmark at those time, and spent for the house. The people who go into the house, this was really very interesting to speak to the people, not to study a theory, what's social, what the people are doing, but to come into contact with very different and people. They had one idea and another idea, and this idea is like this.
Can you tell us a little bit more how you made the transition from your cab business and you started a new adventure in your life, and why you started this adventure?
Why I started this adventure? It's a good question, and I'm afraid it's not so easy to difficult to get an answer. I am thinking about this for for a long time. The beginning was I lived at one place in the city, and the bureau where the cab business was, so I have to drive. And I came every day, passed by a little shop, and the window was in a Gothic style, also like this. And there was a sign you could rent the shop. And my personal thing at those times was a little bit. I'm very. I like leather very much. It's the smell, the feeling. There's an old story that the human beings had a skin, and they make some mistakes, and God is coming and stows them, puts their skin away, and so we are permanent like this leather. And sexual a little bit in the direction of BDSM. But at those time, this all had no names. And one day when I passed, this sign disappeared. And 1 hour later, I rented the shop. Crazy. Yeah, crazy. And then what to do with it? Then I looked for somebody who can sew, nähen, sew, yeah, to produce the things. You know, I'm not at those time. I'm not my grandmother said she was a tailor, But I'm not a tailor. I did not study this, so I looked for somebody, and I had some ideas, and so on and so on. And this was the start of Schwarze Mode. No idea that something like latex is existing. So we produced some leather things, and there was a guy in Cologne. I know him, Nima Lapel. He made leather things in the ground and in the first floor bondage and BDSM things. Today we say bondage, but it's okay. And one day, we had only some things. We started really very small. A lady came in and put some things on the table. This was trousers, latex. Aha. Do you want to sell it? No, we did not have so much things, and so we put it in the window. Why not? It's not so. And 2 days later, man came in. He was not really able to talk. I want it. Packet. How much is it? Gone. Aha. And this, then it developed in this way. And then we had a look. I had a girl who made the things as a tailor. And then we looked at the material. What is it for material? What is? How does it work, and so on? And we find that this material was really interesting. The stretch, going back to the skin, the feeling on the skin is one feeling, and the feeling if you touch it is another feeling. And how is the skin feeling? It's very interesting. But the customers buying some latex things did not talk. And in this beginning, I got a telephone call. Yes, hello. I call you from Solingen. My name is Peter Czernik. Aha. And yeah, I have the idea. There is in England lady who makes latex. We do a catalog, and are you interested? And so what's the first connections to Peter? He gave me a telephone call. And the catalog was from Christina Kitzis. I do not know the company's name.
We can research.
Yeah. And she doesn't glue the things together. He has seams. He made seams. Also like the normal clothes are made. And we found that it looks much more fashion-like, as everything we know, everything you have on here, it's so. And then, yeah, how to get the material. I went into the lady who brought the first things and looked at the floor whether there are some small pieces, and we cut a shirt she is making for us. And I sent it to the German gummi industry. No answer. And then I heard that this on rolls, and this is packed that no water came in. It's from overseas. It's a high industrial product, so it can come from maybe Japan, from the States, from England, and the first thing was to write this company is in England, but this doesn't nobody's answer. And then small parties came to me. You're looking for latex. I have an address, and this was really the address of the latex company 4D. I have a flight to London. I met Mr. Epps, really British gentleman, and he opened his suitcase, latex. And then the other problem was really to find the glue. And then we could start. This was the beginning of the fashion collection of Schwarze Mode. And our thing was always to make it fashionable, then you can wear it, even going on the street and so on.
What year was that? The trend. What year did you start the leather, and what year did you go into the latex?
What year?
Year, if you can remember.
Perhaps you can remember when German was football world things in Brasilia.
Well, that's a good thing. It's very interesting, but it's not my specialty. But I know that we met in 1990, and by that time you had already your first full catalog.
Yeah, so let's see, 5 years ago.
Yeah, so 5 years before.
No.
What made you decide to establish this as a fashion brand more than what was normally the fetish style of latex back then, which was very primary, but you decided to create fashion wear in latex? How did you have this vision? It came from you, and how did you develop it? How did you start to create the designs and build the catalog? How did you build the Schwarze Mode latex business?
Yes, I think we had to bring the latex and the people wearing latex, loving latex, out of the cellars into the light, to make it fashionable, to make it elegant. Later on, when I came into not fetish clubs, normal clubs, or even to high fashion parties, the people saw this elegant designs, the shining of the glanz, the shining of the latex. And the latex is perfect to build up the body and to form it a little bit. At those time, for example, another thing came down. They made it on the people, nice woman standing naked here, and they bring latex milk to the body, and then you had the body latex milk. Said, "Oh, I'm really afraid. Is it?" No. For example, the breast of a woman had a certain shape if she's naked. And if she is closed, the shape is a little bit different. And this makes, we are used to look since years, since a long time, to special styles and so on. We are used to it. And we say that's wonderful, it's looking good. And What I get to learn is if I was going with a wonderful lady in latex on these parties, everybody, men and women, first want to touch this latex. Yeah, sometimes they did it, and sometimes they make like this. Oh, excuse, may I? May I? They ask to touch it. Was it? What is it? And at the end, really, to bring out this as on the streets as an erotic, of course, an erotic outfit, and at the beginning. To see that the people are afraid nobody should know what they are doing, and that this was horrible. Yeah, the clients, of course, everybody think came, and what was very important, and it was a wonderful time. At those times in Berlin, some new things appeared. This was a big tent with mirror. This big tent's coming from Belgium, I think. And they make a dinner with 5 different plates, and they make acrobatic and so on, and in between the people were eating. That was called Pomp, Duck, and Circumstance, and the creator was Hans-Peter Wodarts. And one day, a lady invited me. I want to go there, and she was wearing a latex dress. And the chief, Hans-Peter Wodarts, came to us and said, "Oh, it's wonderful." We had one drink with him afterwards, and we have to meet each other. And I was the small boy with a latex outfit, and Hans-Peter Wodarts was the creator. He had acrobatic things from Cirque du Soleil and so on. It was high class. And then 1 week or 2 weeks later, I take a drink in the Radisson Hotel in Henry's bar, went out, and crashed with Hans-Peter Wodarts. Oh, it's wonderful to meet you, and I have the room, my suite upstairs, and come on, we're drinking some champagne. Next morning, I came to my atelier and said, we are making a fashion show by Pomp, Duck, and Circumstance. And this was wonderful. This was crazy. Bringing it to, you had the press, you had the newspapers, and so on. And so New York was, of course, was exciting without, it was wonderful.
Yeah, we have good feelings and good memories from that era. But I can see that after 1990, your business expanded to a greater magnitude. And
Yeah.
Did you ever did you receive a recognition as a fashion designer, as a designer of something of high fashion value from the industry in Germany or the media?
From the media, yes, and I remember, for example, it was rather in the beginning. In Berlin, it was every year the oldest fashion show, and it was not. It was really old, and young people said, "We want to do something new." And the guy who was selling me the leather said, "You have to go there with your leather and latex. I want to see you." I said, Dago. I said, oh, it's a problem of money. We make it with the money, and you can have what you want from the leather here and so on you have to. Then we went there, and they had a group of models, but this was not models. They come from Poland, theater people, and first the Polish theater people want not to do this, and it has to be a little bit forced and so on. And they made a show. They made a show of everything. That it was not the fashion in front, it was the show in front. And they made a show, and the people were standing ovations. Next year, and then I went with a box of champagne to say thank you. Next year, I got a telephone call. And of course, in the beginning, it's always a fighting with money and so on and so on. We need some new machines for the atelier, and this is rather expensive. And next year, I got a telephone call. We have to come to the fashion show. That now, in the moment, it's not so good. You have to come. Come, please. Here, we need you. It's a meeting. And they told me, the Polish group asked whether Schwarze Mode is in the show, and we said no. No, we only come to Berlin if Schwarze Mode is there. So I did not pay anything for this second thing. It was really impressing, and we made a lot of things with newspaper, with TV, and so on, and always in the way this is it sex? No, this is erotic. What the hell is erotic? And so it came as a mainstream up to Jean-Paul Gaultier. Huh? Yeah, we make some outfits for theater. Complicated, yeah. To every day, every evening to dress and put it on, put it off, and the material latex is not so easy to handle.
One interesting part of this journey of life, whenever you do any business, or sometimes when you do things as simple as going to the grocery, is that you meet people on this journey. And I know that in this fetish and latex party community, back in 1990, there was no internet, and it was a different world back then. So the people that you met had a lasting impression on the memory, because instead of seeing the photos every day on the social network, you would see the person once for 3 or 4 days, and then you had to keep this memory of the people and some of these interactions. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the people that you met, maybe in London, New York, like Constance, Tim Woodwards, Peter Chernick, David Jackson, and maybe other people that you would like to talk to? Maybe we can start in chronological order.
That's not so easy. But this question is I have is my head chronologisch. In London is of course Tim Woodward. Tim Woodward is a real British gentleman. He's making since years before this Skin 2 magazine. And Skin 2 magazine was not a sex magazine. It was philosophy and art and whatever. And this, he's a really wonderful person, and I really hope to meet him. once more, and to sit down for a long night and to talk about all these people. And Christina Kitzes, of course. And what's going on in the States? A wonderful meeting with Bob and Casey Young. He tell you like this.
A very small waste. So this was
The smallest waste in the Guinness Book, the world Guinness Book of thing. And at those times, another thing is wonderful high-class parties in Germany, in Austria, and I've not been in such party in the States. Corset parties. I thought it was really high class. And the Netherlands, very nice, Steve, very nice guys. The only problem was to talk to him. He's only very quick and had a certain dialect. But it's really to get a good relationship and businessmen who are acting a little bit in the same things and not to fight against each other. He made wonderful parties.
So can you tell us a little bit how these different people created something that worked to push the whole thing? So all these different, can you tell us your feeling or your memory of these amazing years?
But my feeling is always even what I have heard what's going on. For example, I opened the shop, and then I heard no internet. It was a certain life before the internet.
Well, this is
so it was very interesting. This first beginning with not so much people. The beginning was Peter Czerny.
Yes.
On the phone. I go to New York. There's a party, the big party. I go to New York. I did it for 3, 5, 6 times, and big thing at New York, and was that shit. Then I made some. I got to know no internet and so on, what it is and so on, and discussion. Yes, we have to go to New York too. Yes, this was a little bit of a problem. Of course, with the money, we have to take, always with the money, we have to take some outfits with us. It was nearly impossible to get it fixed on a carnet. The carnet is a document for customs, and they say, oh, it's no problem, we have to fix some clamps in the clothes. It doesn't work, they will disturb and so on. And then I, at last, I saw for the big boss of Berlin Customs. Okay, we make it. You have pictures from the outfit, and we make it with your pictures, and we fix it, and so on and so on. Pictures from the catalog. Okay, so in different languages and so on and so on, and I will make telephone calls and so on. By the way, Mr. Dietzel, I had a catalog with me. Can I keep this catalog? Of course, sir, no problem. Okay, then we have fixed this, and I always, when I was preparing this, I heard in the car and whatever, wherever, Frank Sinatra and New York, New York. This was my welcome to New York. I think it's could not be a better welcome. And by the way, then the boys, somebody came and asked how much you paid for the cab. No, they said it's okay. And the cab driver got a wonderful tip. Half an hour later, Mr. Czernik came with a limousine. Okay. And we're standing in the line in the queue, and there was the beginning to meet some wonderful people. And it's, yes, I have to look for the names. It was some wonderful people we met there in New York.
What was your interaction, and what do you remember from Constance?
Very strict in the fashion show, to plan it and so, and wonderful lady, very strict, and it was really wonderful. It's not so long ago, 6 years, something like that. I got a telephone call in Berlin and said, "Oh, is this Schwarz Mode?" I said, "Yes, this is Schwarze Mode. Yes, this is Constance. I am in the city." And then in the evening we met in a hotel. Perfect. Talking about those times. He was on a journey.
And in America, you had somebody named David Jackson, who had Domination Directory International and also other magazines of another nature. Do you remember a little bit of your stories of meeting David Jackson? And did you meet him in other places after, like England or other countries?
I had a wonderful coming together with David. It's a wonderful. We had wonderful talks and so on. And I was on the way to the rubber ball, and with my girlfriend, but we missed in Berlin on the airport, and we had no handies and something like this, and it was very complicated to reach her. She came from another direction. There was a traffic breakdown, and she was not early enough. And I did the whole day. I did not know is she coming or not. And I said, and for the phone on the airport in London, and somebody touched me on the shoulder. And this was David Jackson, and I told him the story. I was very down, and David says, "I have half a bottle of whiskey." I was a little bit drunk, and in the evening I went to the airport again. Was the second flight from Berlin, and the girlfriend came in. I was very lucky, and David, I really hope I will try to meet him. Yeah, good. Let's say like this. First of all, I hope I have changed. I hope so. Otherwise, would be not so good. That's the one thing. And the other thing is, is it me who can say I have changed or not? The other people have to say. My feeling, we started as we have said goodbye a week ago.
Yes, and it was 32 years.
And it was 32 years, and this is really wonderful. I think this means friendship, and it's great. And then I'm thinking, say hello to all those people who crossed my ways, and of course they are now not the youngest one. And the problem is really, where are all these people gone? Other younger people, what's going on with the scene? Is it the same, or does internet or whatever disturb even these things? Can we have? I think it's not a problem of COVID. Can we have such wonderful parties? Today, as we get to know, as we had seen we were part of it, and I hope that your party will be a big success. I have a question. Is it possible? One more question?
Sure. So what's the question? Yes.
It's not the same.
No, it is not
It's every time new event.
It is a new event, but also it is new people, old people, and myself also. If I read the same book every year, I don't want to read the same book. So the Montreal Fetish Weekend is always a different book. For me, it's never the same.
Is it still English word spannend? Is it still exciting?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, my Fetish Weekend is going to be more exciting because you came to visit. So I bring you to Fetish Weekend, and I'm not driving as fast as you and as far as you, but I bring back all these memory, and I try to bring back this. Maybe one day it will be a different adventure for the Fetish Weekend, but it's very important for me that we spend this time together because I get to reconnect with the primal desire inside of me also to create this event for other people. So
good luck.
Dankeschön.
And thank you.